Hello, good people. Welcome back to the Kuhb Games YouTube channel. So, I won a Slifer bracket with Machine Gate. For those of you who are members of the channel, first of all, thank you. Second of all, you will recognize that I love this deck now, and that I think it's actually very good. So, I remembered that the Academy League was a thing, and joined into a Slifer tournament, and was able to take it down with this. For those of you who don't know what Academy is, basically that just means that I am the greatest duelist of all time, and this accomplishment will never be topped by anyone ever. So the Academy is basically 3 different tournaments. The Slifer is not where it ends. You start in Slifer, where it is an 8-person single elimination tournament. If you win the 3 matches in a row there and win that bracket, you get promoted up to Raw, where you play a 4-person double elimination tournament. And if you win that bracket, then you're promoted up to Obelisk. And Obelisk is another 8-person tournament, but it is double elimination. And if you win that, you get a World's Invite. So we are at the beginning stages of this with Machine Gate, but I thought I'd bring the run to you in different parts, hopefully 3 different parts. I would love to make the Obelisk again. But yeah, we're just here with the Slifer winning deck, and this is pretty close to the version of Machine Gate that I've been playing. There's a couple of differences here and there, and we will talk about those. I do want to get into the deck a little bit before I show the replays of all 3 rounds that I played. I know I normally don't do videos with like replay analysis. It's usually live stuff because I like that more. I think it's a little bit more entertaining. You get a lot of cool moments in there that you can't really capture with replays, but I wanted to play these matches sort of like without recording, because recording is very distracting. Just talking while you're playing is very hard to do. And I wanted to have my focus solely on the games so that I could try my best to win them and progress within the Academy. So for monsters, of course, we've got our DMOC. We have 2 Faciliers, which is actually very relevant in this list, and I think this card is actually just really good in the deck. You can normal summon it. I'm opting to run 3 copies of Metamorphosis in this deck, so it's a level 7, which is very, very big. The amount of times I've made King Dragoon is insane. It gives you access to, Last Warrior from Another Planet if you're playing against another RGT deck or something like that. And it also gives you access to Labyrinth Tank. So whenever Facilier comes down, if you normal summoned it, obviously it's just going to have 1400 attack, but with a Metamorphosis, it becomes 24. And Labyrinth Tank is actually pretty relevant in this deck when you're playing multiple Faciliers. So love that. Basically, I know a lot of people are playing Needle Burrower. The second Facilier is essentially just taking the Needle Burrower slot for this build. We have 2 level 6s. We have a Blowback Dragon. We have a Jinzo. Blowback Dragon, as I've joked several times, is just the worst monster in GOAT format. It never flips heads for me, and then my opponent Snatch steals it, and they flip 2 heads immediately. So, bit of a love-hate relationship with Blowback Dragon, but Jinzo obviously has to be included here as a trap stopper that gets buffed by limiter removal. Have opted for 2 copies of Stein. Very powerful card in the deck. Obviously, been pretty happy. Sometimes you do brick. You hit the second Stein off of a Monster Gate or a Reasoning or whatever. But that's, I think that's a price you just have to pay for one of the most powerful cards in the format. I actually got the idea to play the whole 3 Metamorphosis package along with the 2 Facilier and the 2 Stein from an ACP video that I randomly found on YouTube. So giving credit where credit is due there. This monster lineup and the triple Metamorphosis package was not my idea, but it's worked out so well and I've loved it so much that I've just kept playing it. Anyway, on to the spells. Triple Limiter, Triple Reasoning, Triple Monster Gate, Triple Scapegoat, Triple Metamorphosis. I already talked about this card being in the deck at 3 a little bit. 3 is a little bit of an unusual number for Reasoning Gate. I know, or at least now, most decks aren't opting to play like a full 3 copies. You see 1, maybe 2 here and there. A lot of times you see 0. It's not just to go with Scapegoat to make Tear, though that is a very powerful play. Like I said, you can go into Labyrinth Tank, King Dragoon, Last Warrior from Another Planet with Facilier. You can also go into Gatling Dragon off of DMOC. The amount of times that I've done that has been huge. You can also go into Gatling Dragon off of Gatling Dragon, which is pretty nice. Sometimes you just need to flip some more coins, get some more monsters off the field. It's been very, very good. You also play Snatch, Steal, and Brain Control, so you can use your opponent's monsters as well with the Metamorphosis, and sometimes just getting into that tear is really, really good. Sometimes you just need to stall for a little bit. Maybe you need to find your Giant Trunade, your Heavy Storm, something like that. Maybe you need to find another Monster Gate, a Reasoning, something to take your opponent out. Or sometimes you meta into a tear, take your opponent's monster, and then just Monster Gate off the tear, and the only thing that you needed to do was remove a face-down monster, and now your opponent's dead. So I can't say enough good things about this card in this deck. I think Metamorphosis is awesome, and I've played tons and tons of matches. I think in the RGT to 1K series that I'm running right now, with this deck specifically, I have an over 80% win rate. And I think a lot of that is attributed to how this deck is built, with the 3 copies of Metamorphosis in mind. It's been awesome. Whenever I first started playing a build like this, I was like, I like the idea. I like Metamorphosis, but I don't know exactly how well it's going to do, and I thought maybe this would be a card that I would trim down on and maybe even cut eventually. No, it stayed at 3. This card's awesome in the deck. From there, of course, we have 3 Giant Trunade, 2 Upstart Goblin, 1 Lightning Vortex. This is probably the worst card in the main. This is like the flex slot. This and, well, I don't even think the Brain Control is really a flex slot anymore. But if I'm changing something about the deck, the Lightning Vortex is the card that usually gets cut. But I always come back to putting it back in the deck. I think this card's actually pretty good in the Reasoning Gate version. This deck can struggle with Scapegoat, so this isn't out to Scapegoat. It is a little bit more of a reactive than a proactive out, unless you Giant Trunade or Heavy Storm before your big play, which is actually pretty common. Then your opponent changes the Scapegoat, then you have Lightning Vortex to take it out. Sometimes your opponent just has, a couple of monsters in the way. Maybe they've got a couple of spies in defense position or whatever. Lightning Vortex, gone. Now your opponent's dead. So I think of all of the decks, this Machine Gate might be the best Lightning Vortex deck in Go format. Maybe. So, I don't know. This card maybe doesn't need to be here, but it serves its purposes. It's also I guess a little bit more of a toolbox for DMOC. If you hit it off of Reasoning or Monster Gate, you mill over a Lightning Vortex, maybe that's the card you need. It's come up a few times. So, I just like this card. I think it's been okay, but I definitely realize it's probably one of the weaker cards in the deck. We have, of course, Graceful Charity, Pot of Greed. No need for duo in this list. Heavy Storm. We have 1 copy of Megamorph, which is actually really good here. Obviously, Stein into Master of Oz Megamorph is 8,400 damage just from the Master of Oz itself, but also works pretty well in tandem with Limiter Removal. It's basically just Limiter Removal number 4. So I love the Megamorph here. I did have another equip spell in United We Stand in the deck, and, well, it's also good, but I don't know. I feel like I don't need more of that effect, basically. But United We Stand is also a card that you could opt to include if you wanted to alongside the Megamorph here. Then we have Snatch, Steal, 1 Brain Control, Premature Burial. And for the traps, I just went all in. We went 3 full Jar of Greeds and a Reckless Greed. And then I'm playing Ring of Destruction, a card that you actually don't see in this deck very often for some reason. Basically, talking to Petty, he is very, very big on you just play Ring of Destruction in this deck and pretty much any deck. And he's right. Ring of Destruction is awesome in this deck. It's I don't really know the reasoning for people not playing it in this deck, but I think the reason may be Ring of Destruction is not really helping your OTK a lot of the times because you're just attacking, playing Limiter Removal, and your opponent's dead, and you don't need the Ring of Destruction. And that's true. That does happen a lot where you don't need the ring, but ring is just such a powerful card and helps push a lot of damage. I guess it also conflicts with Stein sometimes, but just be smart where you use it, right? A lot of times they can just clear problematic opponents' monsters, get them off the board while dealing other damage. So now maybe you don't even need the Limiter Removal or the Megamorph to take your opponent out. Ring's already done a little bit of chip damage and gotten you there. So I've been a big fan of Ring in this deck. I don't think I would take it out for anything. Other cards that I've considered including in the main here are Call of the Haunted. It's always been kind of there's the United We Stand I talked about. Second copy of Brain Control has been pretty all right. Obviously, it's not, amazing against Turbo, but I mean, Brain Control is just a very powerful card in this deck, right? We've got Monster Gate to get rid of the monsters. We have Blowback, Jinzo, Demok, even Tribute with Facilier Dragon to get it off of there. We have 3 copies of Metamorphosis to use with that. So second Brain Control definitely could be very powerful, and it's done all right, but, the ever-presence of Turbo makes it hard to main deck 2 full copies of Brain Control. Getting onto the side, though, we can actually change lists in the Slifer tournaments. Lists are not locked in. You don't have to actually submit a deck list. You could play 3 completely different decks in the rounds if you wanted to. So this side is not like the average side that I've been playing. Well, it's everything but like 2 cards. I've got 2 Threatening Roars over here that I opted to include for my first round matchup because I thought my opponent, JJ Stokes, could be bringing something that Threatening Roar would be good against, and then I left it in for the second match because I thought Mr. Big Noodle could be playing something that Threatening Roar would be good against. And then, honestly, I actually scouted my third round opponent. They played a Slifer finals, literally right before they played me for the Slifer finals. And I saw that they were playing Warriors, so I'm like, I'll just leave the Threatening Roars here, just in case. So I actually played this side for the entire Slifer. But we've got 2 spell cancelers, obviously. Machine, pretty good in the mirror match. We've got 2 copies of Messenger of Peace, which they're fine. I haven't been super duper impressed with them, but yeah, they're all right. I think I'll still opt to include them in the deck. I've got 1 copy of Token Thanksgiving, really good against Burn, really good against Scapegoats. Actually, can sometimes lead to activating Cyberstein twice in 1 turn, which is insane. Love that about Token Thanksgiving, but I don't think you want to max out on this. You probably don't want any more than 1. We've got a couple of Mind Controls specific. This is pretty much all I sight in against Turbo unless they show me a Scapegoat package. 1 Big Bang Shot, got to get through those goats. A couple of Royal Decrees, Torrential, Mirror Force, Raigeki Break. Really, really big fan of Raigeki Break in this deck. Takes out the level limits, the gravity binds, any face down monster that you need to get rid of. Just a really, really good catch-all answer to everything. The -1 is a big deal sometimes, but often, you're going to have dead combo pieces or whatever in your hand, so you're pretty happy to just pitch something to take anything out from the opponent that might be problematic. So big fan of having Raigeki Break in the deck. Oh, also takes care of King Tiger, Spell Canceller, Jowgen, all of that stuff, and you can just decide where to target it. It's a pretty versatile, very good removal card. I mean, and that's why we see it in a lot of meta decks and stuff. So Raigeki Break, very good here. The Threatening Roars, like I said, I thought my opponents could be bringing decks that Threatening Roar could be good against. So stuff like RGT, basically all of the big combo decks that are going to attack and hurt you with a lot of damage at once. So that's why the Threatening Roars are here. I did make one other change when playing my finals match. I actually took out a Jar of Greed and added a Swords of Revealing Light to the main because I thought my opponent might be on Warriors. Didn't want to pre any harder than that because I didn't want my opponent to just, not be on Warriors. Just because I saw them play that in one match doesn't mean they're going to do it again immediately after. So yeah, put in one Swords as like my pre for the Warrior deck. May actually consider Swords for the side now. I don't know why that card wasn't really ever on my radar, but it recently just popped up in my head. Why can't I just play Swords in this deck? Like Messenger of Peace doesn't help with Donzalug, Mataza the Zapper, stuff like that, Spirit Reaper getting under it, where Swords 3 turns, that's really, really good for this deck. Giving you 3 extra turns to draw into whatever piece you need is huge. So maybe Swords actually makes it into the side. I don't think it's going to make it into the main, but maybe I cut down on the Messenger of Peace, or maybe I just find another slot for Swords. Could totally happen, but that's the deck. Let's go ahead and get into the replays. All right, we've got the first match here against JJ Stokes, who is on a very sweet Chaos Burn list. This is not what I prepped for at all, but definitely within their range to play here, and it's pretty sweet. You all are going to see the best game 1 of all time. I also remember being pretty tired when I played this match. I think we played it like late or something. I don't know. Maybe I was just tired that day. But as you can see here, JJ Stokes leads on Thunder Dragon, sets a monster. I have nothing that I can do with my hand, so I pass the turn. Rather than, setting my giant Trunade, I don't think that's great. Setting Monster Gate. I could set meta to sort of bluff something, but I don't really think I need to do that, right? Just pass the turn. Get max punished when he flips Des Koala. So taking a full 2,400 off of that does not feel good. And then taking an attack for 2,100, not great. Sets a card. I draw Monster Gate. I once again have 0 plays. So now I'm going to set the Metamorphosis as just a bluff. Sanga gets in there. Des Koala gets in there. I still have outs here. Like, I still have Giant Trunade, double Limiter Removal, double Monster Gate. So if I draw into a Facilier, or like potentially even a Scapegoat, knowing that there's a Ceasefire back there, obviously Scapegoat would not be an out here. JJ Stokes could just summon another monster, flip Ceasefire, and win. But if I draw into a Facilier, or Stein, honestly, I could use Stein as well, then I probably just win the game on the spot. But we see set monster, and we draw Jar of Greed. We set the Jar of Greed, pass the turn, and Des Koala is just going to take us out. So definitely not going to show any other information, like flipping that Jar of Greed or whatever. That would be absolutely pointless. We set some back row, so, maybe the opponent doesn't think we're on a sort of RGT deck or something like that. Though I am known to play combo decks, so who knows how much that actually helps out. But pretty cool to have a game one where you just literally can't do anything. So, feeling great about things. This hand really, really good, though. We throw down the Pot of Greed. I draw into a limiter. It's going to throw down Upstart here. Metamorphosis also very good, especially with the Monster Gate, like I talked about in the deck profile. We could flip up the Scapegoat, meta into Tear, take a face-down monster like a Des Koala or something. Here we see Bazoo in the opening hand with Dimension Fusion, so I wonder... I remember there being like a beast element to this, but I guess like Bazoo and Dimension Fusion could just be in a sort of Chaos Burn. I don't think this was a smoke screen. I'm not sure. I might actually have to ask after this, because it's a very unique deck. I like it a lot. But we did see the D-Mock in the Game 1 replay, so that would make sense with the D-Fusion and the Bazoo. So yeah, I think it's just sort of like a combination of Chaos Burn with a Beast package. Here I draw Premature Burial. Not amazing. I'm going to go ahead and meta. And I believe with the intention of just attacking in for some chip damage. No, I'm going to go ahead and tribute for Blowback Dragon. Oh, that makes a lot of sense as well. Yeah, so I'm just going for a big game line here. If they haven't answered a Blowback Dragon, it's fine. Obviously, I have Premature Burial, so something like a Torrential Tribute here would be great. If it's a chainable, they're going to chain it to Blowback Dragon. If it's not, there's a chance Blowback Dragon takes it out. We have Reasoning, try to get into Jinzo. We also have Prima to go with the Reasonings, which helps out a lot. If we're not able to take this out, we could potentially Monster Gate our Blowback Dragon off, and then Premature Burial it back, and then try to go for the back row again, because we know it's not a chainable, we know it's not a torrential, something like that. So, a lot of different ways that you could go about this here, but I do like, instead of just going for the little bit of chip damage of attack with the Bazoo, try to draw out the Battle Trap to just kind of go for a game here, because you have so many outs, you have so many ways to get to a Jinzo. Got this limiter removal here, and like I said, with the Premature Blowback Dragon play, good chance we're going to be able to remove whatever interaction the opponent could have here. So, past me, a little bit smarter than me right now. So the opponent doesn't chain, which actually I think I would rather the opponent chain here, because that means I for sure get rid of that back row and I don't have to worry about it, because now it could be like a Mirror Force or something. But I flipped 2 heads with Blowback, so my apologies to Blowback Dragon. You're not the worst monster in Go format. Sometimes you do destroy cards. Lead on Reasoning first in case we hit Cyberstein. It just gives us a little bit more information on like sort of what's going on here. So we go into Gatling Dragon. I throw down limiter removal and then start milling cards from the top of my deck. Like my intention was play around Kuhb as best as possible because it's free to do so. And so I wanted to play this Monster Gate, get rid of that, and you'll see, meant to activate the Monster Gate in my hand, my bad. But JJ Stokes is, like, you know, just, yeah. So that's an example of me being tired, just clicking on the wrong card. Intention, definitely click the Monster Gate. I had the game either way. Like, even if JJ Stokes was like, no, you played the limiter removal, you can't have the Monster Gate as well, I still have enough damage on the board to win the game. So, whatever. It's a little mix up that happens every now and then. Yeah, we are on to game 3 here. Opponent leads on Pot of Greed. We've got a nice little tea set. I've got a pretty good hand here. I really need these upstarts to help me out a little bit, though, just so I can get a little bit more power, because Stein's not going to do it on its own. Monster Gate, probably the best draw possible outside of, like, I don't know, Pot of Greed, something like that. Here is an interesting spot. So if that's an MST, there's a chance we could lose the Scapegoat. We could activate the Scapegoat in main phase. Then you run into the opponent potentially, you know, having Tribe or something like that. We saw Bazoo, so, like, there's, I guess, like, even if they had something like Enraged Battle Ox, it wouldn't really matter. But I guess, like, you can just kind of pick when to use the Scapegoat. But if we activate it now, there's the potential that the opponent could have Tribe. This could be a Spy. They could get another Spy, summon another monster. I don't know, something like an Exile Force or a Mataza or something. This is a different build of a deck. You don't know exactly what's going to happen, so not sure I want to activate the Scapegoat immediately. You could also just activate Trunade to bounce this back in case it is an MST or a Dust Tornado, because we do have the backup Giant Trunade, but I don't think that's great either. So I kind of go with, like, the middle ground play, just set 2. I'll set my extra Giant Trunade, so instead of activating it, if the opponent does MST the Scapegoat, it's not the end of the world, right? I've got Cyberstein that I can use. Like, I can go get my Master of Oz, Gatling Dragon, whatever, and then I can Monster Gate it off. Setting an extra card also protects a little bit against Des Koala. So now it's only doing 1,600. And then, of course, Scapegoat can block some damage. So now I actually have an activation off of Ryu Senshi if I need to get it off of Stein for whatever reason. So that's actually pretty big here. But yeah, I'm just going to set the 2, pass the turn. The opponent does not have the MST, which is pretty nice here. They actually, we saw, I'm sure you all saw whenever I hovered over it, it is a Pro Set Heavy Storm. So going to activate the Scapegoat now, of course, and we are going to lose that other Giant Trunade for no value, but that's okay. Just kind of hoping they don't have Tribe. And once again, if they do, it's not the end of the world. It's an interesting collection of cards here. They're going to opt to pitch Giant Trunade. That makes a lot of sense. And they're going to pitch the Dead Spy. Sure, that makes sense as well. Flip up Des Koala. I'm going to take the 1,600. No big deal. They're going to set Just Desserts is really good here. It gets me out of Stein range. I'm not sure it was used correctly here. Because you'll see JJ Stokes firing off the Just Desserts now. So I take 2,000. I go to 4,400. I guess, like... Because had I... Well, I guess I, like, don't currently have the means to summon a Cyberstein. It's just... It's interesting. Because, like, you could save this. But then I guess... Yeah, like, you could chain this to a Reasoning, or chain this to a... I guess if you chain it to a Monster Gate, I take less damage, but I would still be out of Stein range. It's kind of interesting. I might be missing something here, but I feel like maybe the Just Desserts could have been held a little bit longer. Maybe try to cheese a win here, but I guess with... You got Spy... You got Koala. You don't have a whole lot of burn. You do have the Ring of Destruction as well, so... Okay, sure. But, I mean, that's what happens. Just Desserts gets ripped off here. I take 2,000. sad Cyberstein noises, but Graceful Charity, pretty good draw. Pot of Greed, good. Monster Gate, good. Meta is meta. Actually, meta's pretty good here. See, we can suck up the face down monster. We don't really care about the face up Des Koala. Though, right now we do really need like a limiter removal. I get rid of the Stein. I get rid of the Premature Burial, which that's fine. I don't have a reasoning. I don't really need the Prima here. It's not doing a whole lot. I throw down the Pot of Greed. We draw Brain Control, Snatch Steal. So yeah, I mean, like, we can do a whole lot here. The opponent is at 10,000, which is annoying, and we're at 44. So throw off the True Name. The opponent actually hits Des Koala, which is fine. Put the opponent at 8,900, and I'm just going in here. Meta's going to get Tear. My opponent's only on 3 cards. I'm at 3,300. If they had more burn spells, like, they would have set them, right? So I'm not too worried about getting burned out here. We Monster Gate the Tear into Blowback Dragon. That's totally fine. Monster Gate a token off. We hit Demox, so yeah. Cool. My idea here was, like, I can just go in. I'm protected against, like, Snatch Steal from the opponent because I have these goat tokens. And there's a good chance I could end up doing, like, a whole lot of damage here, especially if I spike a Democ or something. Now, obviously, there's a chance I could get into a Cyberstein. That wouldn't be great. But we could just kind of move forward from there. And also, eventually, something is going to have to be played face up. Or if my opponent does have the Snatch Steal, I can just Snatch back or Brain Control back. And potentially be in a really good spot no matter what I hit here. And generally from 10,000, I'm probably going to put the opponent, it's either going to be on a 2 or a 3 turn clock. You see with Democ, Blowback Dragon here, this is going to be a 2 turn clock. The only way that it wouldn't be is if I hit, like, specifically Blowback Dragon, Jinzo, or any combination of Blowback Dragon, Jinzo, and Cyberstein. Because Facilier, Democ, if those are included, as long as one is not a Cyberstein, then it's going to be a 2 turn clock. And I think with the way my hand is set up, I think that's totally fine. I've got the Brain Control, the Snatch Steal, like I said, to take my stuff back. And I do have the 2 goats here, so I'm pretty insulated against that Snatch Steal. So I think this is fine, but I throw down Graceful Charity. I draw the limiter removal. I draw Facilier. I've not summoned this turn. So, I mean, just a perfect set of draws off of Graceful Charity. Pretty awesome. Summon Facilier. We're going to go for Labyrinth Tank. Here's my limiter removal, and that's going to do it. That is a lot of damage. We get the GGs. There was definitely some risk included in going for it that turn, but I feel like against the deck that's going to be playing just desserts against you, and they're just going to be leaving goats, I had an out to basically clear their field, try to take their life points, take a nice big chunk out of their life points there. I think that made a lot of sense to do. And yeah, I mean, it ended up working out. Just because it worked out doesn't mean it was correct to do, but I think that was all right. I don't want to give the burn deck a whole lot of chances or a whole lot of draws to find more things, because, like, now this Just Desserts is dealing, you know, a whole bunch of damage. If they are, I don't think they're playing L-Lab Gravity Bind in this deck, because we saw the Bazoo and the Dimension Fusion stuff. Don't really want to give my opponent the time to get into any floodgates if they are playing them. So taking the aggressive line there, I think, is totally fine. Didn't really have aspirations that I was going to win the game that turn, but it did work out with the Graceful Charity drawing the perfect, that I did win the game that turn in style with Labyrinth Tank on the board. So that's round 1. We'll get to round 2. All right, match number 2 here against Mr. Big Noodle. Kept the deck the exact same. I thought the Threatening Roars could prove to come in handy here. Spoiler alert, they did not. But going first here, pretty good hand. You can never really complain when you've got a Graceful Charity, a Cyberstein, and a Monster Gate in your hand, right? And this Graceful Charity is nuts. Like, getting the True Nade is pretty much the only piece I really needed, but now I get a Scapegoat too. Awesome. Get to protect the life points. Have a Scapegoat to use for the Monster Gate. Just going to ditch Jinzo, which is very common. A lot of times you're just going to ditch your tribute monster. I think that's totally fine. Like, I do have a meta to go into Tear and then tribute it for Jinzo. That's totally perfectly acceptable, but I think keeping all of these other cards makes a whole lot more sense. So just got rid of the Jinzo here. I'm going to set the Scapegoat, not going to set the Ring of Destruction. The reasoning being is, like, there's no reason to just lose this turn 1 to a Heavy Storm, whereas if they have a removal for the Scapegoat, I can just activate that, and then I can set the Ring of Destruction later. Sometimes there are games where you get into a Cyber Stein, you get something like, you get your big Master of Oz, you Monster Gate into something below 3,000 attack, and then you're able to just set the ring from there and take out the opponent if you need to deal a little bit of extra damage. But Noodle also has a pretty good hand here. We've got the Pot of Greed, we've got Card Destruction. This doesn't look like a hand that you really want to use the Card Destruction in. So pretty happy about that, because my hand's pretty nuts. Donald Zalug gets searched off of this Rhoda here, and we're just going to flip up Scapegoat. Absorb this attack here. Obviously, I don't want to lose 1,400, and obviously, I don't want to lose a card in my hand. So, Noodle's going to set a Solemn Judgment, set a Zing. I draw an Upstart Goblin, which is pretty nice. And just dig a little bit more. Don't hate that. Draw another Scapegoat. Not incredible, but, I mean, I do have chances to win here, right? So, like, I can True Nade, and then summon Cyberstein. I guess I don't have a limiter, so it's going to be really, really hard to actually win here. If I go True Nade, Cyberstein, and a Master of Oz, that's only getting over for 2,800. Huh. What about Gatling Dragon? Because like Gatling Dragon can flip any number of heads, and it's totally fine here. Or I could, hold on, I could go into Master of Oz. I'm just trying to figure out, like, I don't really remember this game. I'm just trying to look at this and sort of reason in my head. It just helps to get better that way, I guess. Summon Cyberstein. Master of Oz. Meta for Tear. Take this. So now I'm getting in for 49, and the opponent's at 41. And then Monster Gate into anything that's not Cyberstein or, well, Jinzo's gone. Yeah, Monster Gate into anything that's not Cyberstein just wins the game? Okay. So, yeah, I do lead on True Nade. There is a chance I win the game here. I'm going to go for Monster Gate first. I think this might be a little bit of a mistake. Though, there's also the reasoning of, like, this could just hit blowback. And if I do hit the other Cyberstein, then I want to be able to use it, and then I can just keep my Metamorphosis for later if something goes wrong. Okay, maybe this is sort of like a little bit of a mid-ground play. I hit Facilier here. I'm going to summon out Cyberstein. We go into Master of Oz. Does this win here, though? Interesting. Attack for 42. Yeah, it only gets in for 18. No, I guess 14, 21. Okay. I hit the Facilier, so yeah, this does make sense. Noodle goes to 2,700. Okay. I was just a little bit off on my math there. Yeah, Card Destruction's fine. You get to take a look. I'm looking at this, and I'm like, well, this is just regular Warrior. Or Chaos Warrior. According to Mr. Big Noodle, this was a very unique deck. This was not just Chaos Warrior. I just didn't get to see the goods in this game. But yeah, we pitched Thunder Dragon. We've got Graceful Charity to follow it up. It's pretty good. Oh, Masked Sorcerer. Okay. That's pretty sick. We pitched some Thunder Dragons. I'm just waiting on this ring, basically. Now that a bunch of cards have been drawn and stuff. Just going to play around Book of Moon. Breaker comes down. I'm really hoping it doesn't hit the ring. It hits the Scapegoat. That's fine. I'm going to let that go. Attack over Cyberstein. Now I have to ring. So if there's a Book of Moon over there, woe is me. Not great, but ring is going to be able to take down the game. So I apparently can't do the math in right now, but we did have a play there that did take out the opponent's life points, and I get the reasoning behind doing it in the order that I did. So even though I sort of concocted a play in my head that would have used the Thousand-Eyes Strict first, but like I said, if that doesn't go into this, or if it does go into Cyberstein there, then I've just got a kind of a wasted Metamorphosis. So here, Noodle leads on Duo Pot, pretty good. I've got a Premature Burial here with nothing going on. Unfortunately, my Monster Gate is gone, but I do have a Cyberstein. I've got a Torrential Tribute. Things are not lost. I just set the TT. I like that. Doesn't work out. Here comes Spy. Here comes DD Warrior Lady. There go my there go my dreams of Cyberstein. Though I do have another Monster Gate. It's totally fine. And I draw into Reasoning. I think I was actually, whenever I was playing, I was thinking, how about a Reasoning here? So, yeah, sometimes you get what you want. Noodle calls 8. Obviously, I have this Premature Burial if we do hit the DMOC, which is pretty nice. But I kind of want a Jinzo here, right? We mill. We hit Jinzo. Awesome. So now we know the traps are gone. I'm just going to go in here like the Cyberstein's dead. I think with the Jinzo on the board, this is my best chance to sort of do something. So this is obviously a little aggressive. I hit DMOC because I'm a pro. What do I get back with DMOC here? God. I have the whole deck in the graveyard, right? Could be Reasoning because I have Premature Burial, right? Let's see what I get back. Could also just be Graceful Charity. Try to spike something. I do get back to Graceful Charity. I think that makes sense. Reasoning doesn't really give me a path to win the game, right? Whereas Graceful Charity, I think I do not have a limiter removal left in the deck, but I do have Megamorph. So, no, I probably sided out of Megamorph here, honestly. It doesn't show you exactly how you sided, but I probably sided like it was regular Warriors. And I've been siding out a Stein and a Megamorph in that, so there's not much left in the deck, honestly, but there is... Wait, Brain Control's gone, Snatch Steal's gone, yeah, there's not a lot left in the deck, but Lightning Vortex and Heavy Storm. Do I draw a monster too? I do. Like, I may have calculated that there was a Lightning Vortex. The only problem is, like, I don't get to do everything here because I can't... if I activate the Lightning Vortex, I get to take out the monsters, of course, which protects me around, like, against the DD Warrior Lady, banishing something, but I can't Lightning Vortex and Premature Burial the Fusilier, which would have been awesome. So I'm going to opt to Lightning Vortex here. I think that's totally fine. Just go ahead and get rid of the board. I hope Noodle doesn't have Snatch Steal. Obviously, if Noodle has Snatch Steal here, I just lose. But I think I was in a bad position just to start with. So I think sometimes in those situations, just going like as aggressively as possible makes sense. Put the biggest clock on your opponent that you can so that if they don't have the exact outs that they need, you probably just win, especially with having the back row lockdown with Jinzo. We've seen that the opponent is a trap-heavy deck. The draw Premature Burial, does that do anything? Gets back DD Warrior Lady. Okay, that's not incredible. It gets rid of the Jinzo, which is pretty big here, but it puts Mr. Big Noodle at 100, and I think I have Ring in the deck. I do still have Ring in the deck, so that could be pretty good. Jinzo's out of here. These traps are unlocked. We see Ring of Destruction, which is not good. We see Mirror Force, which is pretty good. Noodle just sets a card. I draw Ring of Destruction, man. Sometimes you just draw well. Sometimes you just get lucky. I'm not gonna attack here, I believe. I sit here, you can see me looking over graveyards and thinking about it. Not attacking, there's no reason to attack this into a Mirror Force or anything here. Just pass the turn. We've got Ring for game. We can throw it off whenever we want to. Opponent grabs some Thunder Dragons. I'd imagine they don't have Book of Moon over there. It is still a possibility, but Book of Moon could have been used on the Jinzo or something. We don't actually know. Like, there's no read you can like super duper make there. I draw a Reasoning, and then yeah, immediately look at the graveyard, which I'm going to do now. There is still a Facilier in the deck. There is still a Blowback Dragon in the deck. So I think it's free to go for Reasoning now. If I hit Blowback, that's excellent. Yeah, Noodle calls 6. I hit the other Facilier. Now, I kind of want to turn this Demock to defense. Because... yeah, like it could be Mirror Force, Solemn Judgment. Oh, I don't. I'm just going for the lethal line here. That's kind of risky. I guess maybe I'm reading there's not a Solemn Judgment. I don't think that's a great read. Because like maybe they would have Solemn the Reasoning, but they've got a mirror. I don't think I like this. I think I'm supposed to turn one of them to defense and just attack with the other. Like I know this is a lethal attack, but well, no. This is totally fine. Actually, now the more that I think about it, I think there are a lot of layers to this one. Mr. Big Noodle's at 100. For me to lose, Mr. Big Noodle is eventually going to have to summon something face up. So if I attack with both of these and there's a Mirror Force, well, I know I still run into Mirror Force Solemn Judgment. I don't like this. I don't think. There's a Mirror Force. I chain Ring of Destruction. Noodle chains Ring of Destruction. I don't like this play. I don't think this is good. I think what I should have done is just turned Demock to defense and attacked with Facilier to not run into exactly Mirror Force Solemn Judgment. So maybe a little bit of a misplay there. It ends up working out, but I don't think I played that in game as well as I could have. You can make the argument, well, Mirror Force is a limited card. Solemn Judgment wasn't used on your Reasoning or anything during the game, so... or was it Reasoning, or was it... It would have been the Monster Gate. So maybe there is no Solemn Judgment back there, but I think it's totally fine to just play around both of those. Because we know 2 of the cards in hand are Thunder Dragon. Yeah, I don't know. I probably didn't play this correctly. You can... I get the argument for attacking with both. Noodle's at 100. Try to take it out by battle here. Mirror Force Solemn Judgment is like the only like huge punishment. But if it is Mirror Force Solemn Judgment, I probably just lose the game on the spot. So I don't know. I did have a game to play with, but I mean, I think I probably am going to win this game no matter what here. Well, if I make the right play here, but it's pretty nice, winning through pot duo. Turn 1. Sometimes like this deck very much cares about delinquent duo, but a lot of times this deck does not care about card advantage at all. That's just not the axis it's playing on. It's getting in there, getting the opponent dead. So sometimes your opponent can be over here doing like all the value, Pot of Greed, Thunder Dragon, Graceful Charity. They've got this handful of 18 cards. They've got infinite cards on the board. They're building up, all of their card advantage to play a long game. And you're like, oops, Giant Trunade, you died. So that's one of the things that I love about this deck. But yeah, definitely don't think I made the right play here. But hey, that's good. Good to learn. Play around the Mirror Force Solemn Judgment. Don't get too trigger happy with this Ring of Destruction and trying to win the game in a game that you probably will win anyway. But yeah, that's match 2. There's one more. Let's go ahead and get to that. All right, finals match against Big Chin here. Believe I win the rock, paper, scissors again. You get to go first. Just absolutely beautiful hand here, even better with the Graceful Charity draw. Oh yeah, throw down Pot of Greed, perfect Pot of Greed. Nice little Giant Trunade here. We get a second copy of Scapegoat. Graceful Charity, also incredible. Love to see that. I pitched Stein, Blowback Dragon. Maybe I'm supposed to pitch second copy of Scapegoat. I had it in my head that, might be playing against Warriors because my opponent literally played a Slifer match right before this one. And it appeared they were playing Warriors, so I opted to keep the double Scapegoat, but maybe because of Trap Dust Shoot here, I am supposed to just keep the second copy of Stein. Anyway, Set Scapegoat, pass the turn. The opponent leads on Duo. They give it a good roll. They hit Giant Trunade. It's fine. I've got another one of those. Now I can just ditch the Scapegoat. Opponent does the old T-set pass. I'm actually not going to do anything here. There was no reason to flip up Scapegoat on my opponent's end, I don't believe. Especially, you know, with the face-down monster. But basically, at this point, there's just too much risk. Like, if I go for it, and this is a Spy or a Night Assailant, my turn can definitely get interrupted to the point where my opponent could potentially just have, like, Snatch Steal kill me on the next turn or something like that. I just really need my opponent to flip something up, put something in face-up attack position. There's also, like, you could argue that I could go into something like Tear here, which I thought about. But then we just kind of lose out on power. There's no guarantee that we win the game because the opponent could call one of the reasonings correctly, and then once again, Snatch Steal kill me. Could potentially happen. Gatling Dragon obviously can go horribly wrong in this situation. So there's just a lot of risk. It's like, as long as this isn't exactly Magician of Faith, it's totally fine. The opponent's going to have to put something face up, but they do have the Magician of Faith, as we can see. That's going to be pretty bad for me. They hit our Reasoning. I'm actually going to discard the other copy of Reasoning because Giant Trunade, Monster Gate, Cyberstein I think are a little bit more important. They attack with the Moth. I'm going to take the 300. No reason to flip up Scapegoat because there's no guarantee they're going to even attack one of them. And then that locks out Cyberstein from being a play. Opponent sets a monster. I draw limiter removal, which is pretty awesome here. So now I'm going to go for it. I only need to flip one heads, potentially. There is a fail case here. I could hit the other... No, I can't hit the other Cyberstein because it's in the graveyard. So there's basically just no fail case here. Other than flipping 3 heads exactly with Gatling Dragon, or 0. So I need it to be 1 or 2. Pretty good chance of that happening. So we get 1 heads, awesome, fantastic. We get a tails, fantastic. So now we just win the game, right? I guess Demock isn't a win just yet. We would need to mill over a Metamorphosis or something to make Demock. No. We could just Monster Gate it off. Never mind. So even Demock is a win here. But we get Jinzo. We throw down this limiter removal. We absolutely obliterate our opponent's life points. And we move on to game 2. Sometimes you beat double Delinquent Duo, and that feels great. Sometimes you just draw the greatest hands possible. Seeing what I saw from the opponent, we saw Spy, we saw Moth, we saw Duo. I actually side like it is Chaos Turbo, and I think that's totally defensible. I'm like, oh, the opponent just switched up decks on me. As you can see from this little face down card here, it's not Turbo. I draw Facilier off of this Upstart Goblin. I'm actually going to summon it out and attack. I don't know why I set this Jar of Greed first. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But I am going to attack, and this helps out in a few ways. So if it's a Night Assailant, they flip it up, they just destroy the Facilier. Fine. I still have Cyberstein to use the Monster Gate on. If it's a Spy, at least it gets them face up, lets me know what's going on. Gets 2 monsters on the board to make Gatling Dragon a little bit more potent, a little less likely to backfire. And it's just like, it can clear a monster off the board, say Iron Blacksmith Kotetsu, Sangan, Serpent, something like that. I like the attack here. I think it makes a whole lot of sense. Opponent grabs Snatch Steal, and then they actually MST my Jar of Greed, which is kind of annoying, but that's fine. I draw into Mind Control, and I'm like, ooh, this could be really good. I Heavy Storm. I'm going to go for the win here. I Monster Gate off the Facilier, and the reason for doing that is I still have a second copy of Cyberstein in the deck, so if I hit that, then that's great. I hit Blowback Dragon, which is one of the weaker monsters in my deck. I go into Cyberstein. I go into Master of Oz, and then, of course, I'm going to Monster Gate off the Cyberstein here. And I'm going to hit Jinzo. And that's a problem. Because the opponent's at 9,000. And I can't attack with this Sangan. Uh-oh. So I put the opponent to 100. I know they have Snatch Steal in hand. I'm not dead to Snatch Steal right now. But things aren't looking great. They draw Mataza, which is pretty good. They Snatch Steal my Master of Oz. They're just going to take out the Blowback Dragon. Makes a whole lot of sense. And yeah, I draw Cyberstein. Not great. If I drew Limiter Removal, I won the game. Which is Just wild. Limiter removal literally wins the game there. I have just one, right? No, two in the graveyard. There's the other one. So I only had one left in the deck, but I had a 1 in 12 chance of just winning with limiter removal there. Not sure what else would have done it. Prima's already gone. Trunade, I guess, would do it since I drew... No, I wouldn't have drawn the Cyberstein. Not really sure what else would have done it, but limiter removal would have won the game there. Instead, I draw Cyberstein. I attack over the face down monster. It's Magician of Faith. They're going to get back Smashing Ground and kill me. So I'm out of here. I didn't gain the 1,000 there. Whatever. But yeah, it says that was a bit close. Indeed. Got them to 100, and I've got just like flashing across my eyes like I got them to 100, and now I'm not going to win the Slifer. Oh no. Oh no. This hand needs some help, but it's not bad. Scapegoat, obviously one of the best cards in the deck for a reason. They Heavy Storm. Awesome. Get to flip up Scapegoat here. Big deal not setting the Ring of Destruction here. I know covered that in one of the previous matches where I don't like to set it with Scapegoat turn 1 because of Heavy Storm. And that is going to come in huge here. So the opponent summons Cyberstein, and I'm like, what? I was not prepared for this, but I'm very glad that I have a Scapegoat here. I took a screenshot of this hand and sent it to Petty. You all can't see, but he was watching this match. I sent it to him. I'm like, if they give me a turn, that Cyberstein is mine and they are dead. So they activate and they go into Last Warrior. Awesome. That's fine with me. I've got Snatch Steal for that. I've got Ring for that. Things are great. They set Mirror Force. I draw into Facilier, which isn't doing a whole lot here. Can't really do much with it, right? I Snatch Steal the Last Warrior. Do they not Mirror Force this? They don't. I was going to say, I don't remember them using the Mirror Force. Why? I guess. Huh. I guess because of the swords over there, they're just happy with this locking the game down for now. They can smash and ground it if they want. Okay. Okay. There's reason behind it. They've got the smash and ground to take it out. They can save this Mirror Force for later when this does get taken out and I maybe build a big board. They've also got swords to keep it at bay for a little bit. It's playing with fire, but I'm going to set Facilier here. I think my reasoning was just in case something goes wrong, I have another defender. And now, to play around MST, I just set all 5 cards. Or all 4 remaining cards, because at this point, I'm like, well, Ring of Destruction is going to get me there. My opponent throws down the swords, which actually gets Facilier face up. I also have Limiter down, too. So I'm like, if I draw into a Giant Trunade or something, I do have this Limiter that I can just activate. So we can clear a spot. Also, Mind Control. Well, I guess I can't activate Mind Control if the Facilier's down. But this is okay. Opponent wrote us for DD Warrior Lady. They said it. Cool. No big deal. I draw on a Monster Gate, and my immediate reaction was, oh, well, now I can just... I can Monster Gate off one of these, and I can, like, attack the DD Warrior Lady, force it to use its effect. Yeah, and this was... So I flipped the Limiter removal, because I was just like, I have the win here. And then I realized I can't actually play the Monster Gate. So that didn't work out. I flipped the Ring. It's not getting better. So I think this is totally fine. Just go ahead and use the Ring now. This has to be exactly Book of Moon. And the opponent doesn't have it. They give the GGs. Activating the Limiter there was just an absolute brain lapse. But I got a little excited. I was like, ooh, I win. So, and like, if they have Book of Moon here, well, I can't attack because of the swords. So I guess if they have Book of Moon here, it does get a little weird. And then I just lost a Limiter and a Facilier for nothing. All right. Not the best look on the limiter removal brain lapse, but that's okay. I had the Ring of Destruction, very high likelihood that it gets there, and it did. So thank you very much, opponent, for activating Cyberstein and giving me a last warrior from another planet. I appreciate it very much, and that's going to be it. Taking down the Slifer, a few loose plays here and there, but hey, that's one of the reasons why you do this replay analysis, to learn from the mistakes and get better. But yeah, hopefully tighten up a little bit for the Raw. Able to take that down. I am well, I guess I'm not undefeated because I did lose a match. I have won every Raw I've played in, and that is one. So hopefully I can take down the Raw tournament. Look forward to covering that on the channel as well. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's been a long time since I've done anything sort of like replay analysis, like just full-on replay analysis video. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back with the next video.